I got, oh, we're doubled up. Max has one, I have one. A couple of awesome fish right off the bat. Me and Dax hooked up at the exact same time. All right, what's going on, guys? Today we are out here doing another smallmouth mission. I had so much fun the other day doing this that we had to come out and do it again. February is a great month to do this, especially late in the year. So we got Dax with, he's the smallmouth man, open water and through the ice. And we also have Mark with, who you guys have probably seen in a video before, huh?
Video or two, maybe.
Yeah, in a couple videos. So today we're up here in the Hayward area, and it's actually the end of the day now, but we had a great day of smallmouth fishing. So yeah, enjoy. We got some good information in this one, how you guys come out and be successful. And yeah, we're gonna put the machines on the trailer now, but we had a great day on the ice, and looking forward to enjoying the rest of the month of February targeted smallmouth up here in Hayward, Wisconsin. What do you think? Anything to add?
For it. The later the ice goes, the better the smallmouth get, for sure.
Yep, as late as you can fish them is normally good. Mark, was it a good time today?
It was an awesome time. Always is with Tom Boley.
All right, thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy the video. How's it feel?
I don't know, it's a freaking fishing rod.
Finally one to eat. I've been seeing a lot of them. A little guy to start.
Little guy, bigger than I ever seen.
Beauty. Number one. Yeah, there's only about 100 more down there. Got him. Hooked up. Put on a little Castmaster, and that took about 30 seconds. Not a real big one, but a nice smallie through the ice there. Take that. Castmaster stuck right in the roof of the mouth, just tipping that with a little minnow head. It's that easy. Go ahead and pop him off here. He really had it good. There we go. Beauty. Too much fun. Gotta drop back down because there's two of them on the screen there. Got him. Is that another sucker? Look up.
Like the right species.
More bass like. Looks like a good one.
Yeah, feels good. So cool finding them on this light stuff.
I know.
And the pressure is pretty much 0 people.
What do you have? Big bass?
I think it's a big bass. Feels like a nice bass. Used to catch them on the old 7-footer, but
Yeah, it's crazy how much they like tungsten jigs.
yeah,
Yeah, getting close.
definitely getting closer. Not ready yet. Definitely the right species.
A nice one.
Yeah. Come here. There we go.
Look at that. Nice chunker on a little tungsten jig. Absolutely bizarre that they like those things so much.
Yeah, they eat them good.
Little chigger fry in the back end.
Yeah.
Beauty.
Northwest Wisconsin bronzy. So you should wave goodbye to us. There we go. Perfect. We'll come out and see the different. There you go.
Hooked up.
Yeah, little one. Ooh, this rod does load nice.
Yeah.
Really nice right there.
Paragon.
Can't believe how light they are.
Yeah, kind of the perfect tungsten small spoon rod.
Yeah, no kidding. Just a little one, but we got to watch him on the old Marcum. That was pretty cool. There we go.
Chunker.
Yeah. Google Eye tungsten right in the snout. That's what's cool about them. They don't really crush it, but when you get them, it's easy to take the bait out. Panfish plastics, jigger fry.
All right, so where we find these fish is obviously the biggest thing, right? Now, if you're out here in a boat in October and November, it's a lot easier because you see right where those fish winter. From November till early May, those fish are pretty much in the same spot until they start pushing up to spawn in May. So a great place to start on a lot of these deeper, clear, natural lakes that we have in northern Wisconsin, you know, where the basin might be 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 feet deep, is a lot of these deeper humps. Now, the best way to find deeper humps is obviously starting with the lake map like this. And basically what I like to do, you guys know I love depth highlighting. So I come over and I go menu, and I get my Humminbird chart, and I come down to depth highlight. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set this at 25 feet and 5 feet either way, so that this is gonna highlight every hump that's between 20 feet and 30 feet. This is kind of the prime depth that you're looking for fishing these wintering smallmouth spots. So we're gonna set this at about 25, and all of a sudden the map's just gonna pop out at you. So now look at all this structure we have to fish, right? So if you come down to like something like this right here, here's a hump that's got some shallower water on it, you know, it's got some deeper water around it, and the top of this little hump right here is about 28 feet. Now this is gonna be a perfect spot to fish. Now the next thing you gotta do if you're not familiar with this spot in the boat or on the ice is, you know, you gotta punch a whole bunch of holes. If you have an underwater camera, great, because it helps you try to find one of two things. Most of the time you're either looking for rock, like here, or you're looking for cribs, like right here. These are the two things that hold smallmouth. Most of the time, we're looking for rock. If your lake has a lot of cribs, you know, a lot of times you can find an old DNR map or something that'll show you crib locations, which is a great spot to start because smallmouth love cribs, especially in the winter. But if you don't have a lake that has a lot of cribs, basically you're looking for rock. And it's real easy once you get your depth highlights set to say, okay, we're gonna start here, no fish here, we're gonna go right to this one. This is a sand hump, we're gonna go to this one. And eventually you're gonna run into rock or cribs. And you know, especially if you're running an underwater camera, you're gonna be able to see those fish pretty quick. Another thing to note is that when you're fishing for smallmouth, let's say you don't have an underwater camera, you're not sure if you're in walleyes or smallmouth or what's going on down there. Smallmouth almost always react exactly the same on the graph. They're gonna creep up real slow. They're not gonna come super far off bottom. They're gonna kind of sit there, and they might either bite or go back to the bottom. If you're seeing a lot of these big red marks coming up a foot and going back down, coming up a foot and going back down, you're definitely on smallmouth. That's kind of that's what smallmouth do in the winter time. So, you know, keep these things in mind if you guys are gonna go out smallmouth fishing the rest of the winter, and it should help you put you on a whole bunch of them. Oh, you got another one. We got two on. Dax has one on over there. Mark's got one on in the shack.
Too much fun.
It is.
Now that the season's extended.
Yeah. Is it for this year or is it for next year? I don't even remember which.
Oh, I'd have to read up.
Yeah. But for sure next year in Wisconsin, they're allowing catch and release bass fishing from the season closure till the fishing opener. And these things, if you can ice fish them in April, they're gonna be an absolute blast. There's another nice bronzer.
Pretty.
And a lot of times when you get on them on these wintering spots, there is a ton of them there, like today.
Chunker.
A lot of fish. Fish on. He is not very big though. Just a little guy. But we're gonna pick up all the fish we're catching are like 12 to about 17, 18 I'd say. So we're gonna go fish some different stuff and hopefully get some bigger ones. Still fun though. I got, oh, we're doubled up. Dax has one, I have one. I don't think I got a super big one. How's yours feel? Mine's right at the hole. Oh, look at this one. That's a little better, Dax. How's yours? That is what we were looking for, guys. You know, we just moved out to some rock and kind of gritted it out, and a couple of awesome fish right off the bat. Me and Dax hooked up at the exact same time. You know, those fish we're catching on the cribs were nice, but these ones are very, very quality smallmouth.
Oh, yeah. Healthy fish.
We'll take that all day long. We're gonna let these guys go. Alright guys, so there's pretty much two presentations we're using today to catch a smallmouth that pretty much work regardless of where you fish. One, kind of like you've seen us start with today, is the tungsten jig with a plastic on the end, a real finesse deal. This is the Acme Google-Eye jig and Panfish Plastics Chigger Fry on there. The 5mm Google-Eye is kind of a bigger jig than most guys are probably used to seeing for crappies. Although it is a 5mm, it profiles a lot bigger. It's got a great hook on it. And then you just thread that Panfish Plastics Chigger Fry on there, and that's kind of the deal. You know, smallmouth, it's not like they're super charging up, super crazy, smashing big baits. It's a lot more of a kind of finesse deal. And you know, basically the way you work these two baits is pretty much the same, but this plastic, this tungsten, it's pretty much just like you're crappie fishing, except you're holding that jig about a foot up. You're just sitting there shaking it in place and getting the tail of that thing just vibrating around. And then obviously when the fish come in, you know, you kind of pull it away from a little bit. Most of the time they'll come right up and grab it. So, you know, you kind of need a rod that's good, has some good backbone, and can still have a good feel on a smaller tungsten jig like that. So that's kind of the more finesse presentation we fish, and a lot of times I'll fish this around cribs or somewhere where fish are a little bit more lethargic. Whenever you're fishing fish cribs, you notice that fish are a lot more lethargic. Now, when we're out on some of these deep rock humps, like the second half of the day, what we're doing, we're using more spoons, more of your kind of standard walleye stuff, but we're not using huge spoons and we're not ripping them crazy. This is the Acme Rattle Master in a 12th ounce. It's got a little rattle in there. I catch a ton of walleyes on this too. And basically we're doing the same thing. You know, walleye fishing, I might kind of rip this thing a little bit more and get those fish a little bit more fired up. Smallmouth do not like that big rip quite as much. With smallmouth, you're basically holding that bait foot, 2 feet off bottom, and you're just sitting there and hammering it just like that. Getting that spoon to kind of go back and forth. And it's just a real subtle action. Not much of this big stuff when you're doing the smallmouth thing. And basically when a fish comes in, you almost kind of slow that rattle down and just take it away from them a little bit, and that's most of the time when they bite. Now most of the time these fish don't come up and just boom, grab it like that. A few times they might if they're real fired up, but most of the time you're just pounding it in place. You see that big red mark come up to you, and it's almost just kind of soft weight on the end of your rod. So those are basically the two things we're using. Those are the bites that we're fishing, and yeah, if you guys fish one of these two baits, you know, kind of have both of them rigged up, ready to go, but this is what we're rocking and rolling with for the whole rest of the season for smallmouth through the ice. Fish on. Doesn't feel like a giant. We're just kind of going rock hump to rock hump, checking for fish, and we're finding them. We're kind of coming back through and drilling a whole bunch of holes, and I just pulled up on this spot. This feels like a nice fish. You gotta be careful with them at the hole because they get sideways down there. What do we got here? What's going on? Oh yeah. That is what we are after. That one's about 19 inches long. Awesome smallie right there.